Love lives here.
So how many of you caught Jeannie's reference this morning? May the 4th be with you. All right, Catholics, may the 4th be with you. And also with your spirit. And also with you. Yeah, exactly. It used to be and also with you, right? And then it changed to and your spirit. Yes. Yes. Oh, yes. Wow. Yes. So thank you. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you, Alan. So Alan just shared with the room that today is also the 55th anniversary of the Kent State Massacre during the Vietnam War, and how Jeannie's invocation also illuminated that as well. So yes, it is very important to remember that, how the differences can create difficulties, right? Which, you know what, that's a perfect segue. So thank you for that. So today we are talking about got to be real. Got to be real. Got to be. Yeah, I know. I almost had you do it, but I didn't want to change it up on you too late. So at any rate, today we are talking about got to be real, because if you belong, which is our theme for the year, what we're working with in this time frame is authentic relationships, and relationships with one another and relationships with ourselves. And so it is got to be real. Okay? So relationships are beautiful, aren't they? And they're messy, aren't they? Yes, they are. They'll teach you faster than any book, any class, any spiritual practice, won't they? Why is that? Because people, especially the ones closest to us, will press every last button for your spiritual growth, right? My minister in Vegas used to say, I may have pushed your buttons, but I didn't install them. And I'm like, I love you too, Reverend Doug. And there's another button you just pushed. So, right? But here's the truth. You can't fake your way into authentic connection. And you can't love and light yourself past the real work, right? Relationships require guts. They require grace. And they require a whole lot of God stuff, don't they? Yes? All right. So we're talking about building relationships that don't just look good on Instagram for all of those grammars out there, or TikTok, or any of the others, right? They actually have to heal, and they actually uplift, and they actually call us into our wholeness. So let's start where this connection begins, shall we, with truth. That means being honest with ourselves. Ooh. You're going to ask me to be honest with myself? Yes, I am. Being honest with yourself first and foremost, as well as being honest with others. And I don't just mean the polite avoidance and spiritual niceties. No. Truth. The kind that might make your voice tremble, but your soul exhale. So trust and honesty aren't spiritual upgrades that you get once your relationships are ready. They're not something that you just sprinkle after everything feels safe, right? They are not the sacred, but they are actually the sacred ground that authentic connection is built upon. And sorry, guys, gals, everybody, there is no shortcut. I know Allison's disappointed. You were looking for a shortcut today. Sorry. Ernest Holmes nailed it when he said that there is no healing without truth. And that doesn't just apply to your physical or emotional being, it includes the healing that happens between us in the fragile, beautiful, and sacred terrain of human relationship. But let's be honest, we've been taught that keeping the peace means staying quiet, haven't we? The truth, we've been taught that the truth will disrupt the harmony, cause a fight, cause tension, or worse, cost us love. But peace without truth is not peace. It's performance. It's spiritual stagnation wrapped up and dressed up in people-pleasing. We think we're being kind when we hold back. But what we're actually doing is we are holding ourselves and our relationships hostage when we think we're being kind, when we hold back. We don't say the truth. We don't speak the truth because, I don't want to cause a conflict. I don't want Jabel to be mad at me. I don't want my husband to look at me cross-eyed. Actually, it would be my husband mad at me and Jabel look at me cross-eyed. Right? Yeah. With me, you get the eye roll. I mean, we all know this, right? But here's the paradox. Trust is built when we tell the truth and we love each other anyway. Not when we agree, not when we pretend, but when we are willing to see and be seen and stay in the room together. Yes. Wow. All right. She's taking notes today. All right. She always does, but I mean, she's scribbling fast. All right. So, trust is built when we tell the truth and love each other anyway. Not when we agree, not when we pretend, but when we're willing to be seen and to see and stay in the room together. That kind of honesty is sacred. That kind of honesty is vulnerable. And yes, it is risky, but it's the only real path to intimacy. It's the only real path to connection. So I ask you, my beloveds, where are you withholding truth out of fear? And what might happen if you dared to open up and be real? To be real. We're not here to practice spiritual principles in isolation, meaning that spiritual principles are relationship tools. They're not just something that we talk about on Sunday. You come, you're like, spiritual principle, yeah, I got it. All right, out the door, and we don't practice it, right? Which is why we move to tables. So we have these discussions so that we can actually practice together. So it's easy to feel spiritual, right? When you're all alone with a candle and your meditation app, sitting on your meditation cushion. I'm so spiritual, right? But the real test comes when that one text message sets you off before your second cup of coffee. Or the namaste goes out the door or evaporates when that moment when somebody suddenly stops in the middle of Costco to sample a Cheez-It. You know what they taste like. They've been around longer than any of us have been alive. We all have had them. Right? But this teaching, this path that we're on is not a private escape from people. On the contrary, it's a practice for being with people. Spiritual principles aren't just beliefs, they're tools, like I said. And they were meant to be used in the times when it's messy, when life is unfiltered, when we're having a heart-expanding landscape of relationship. So let's look at love, right? Love isn't just warm fuzzies. Love isn't just petting the doggy, petting Liam, petting the doggy, petting Paisley, right? Petting Sato. It's not just, love isn't just the warm fuzzies. It's a spiritual discipline. It's a decision to see the divine in someone who's really testing your enlightenment. I'm sure we can all come up with at least one individual that is testing your enlightenment. Okay? Oneness doesn't mean sameness. It means recognizing that the person who inspires you and the one who irritates the crud out of you are both reflecting something back to you. Right action isn't about being nice. Make nice. It's about doing the next sacred thing, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's inconvenient. Darn it. If you want your sacred relationships to evolve, you want to create connection, then you have to apply the principles, not perfectly, but faithfully, over and over and over and over and over and over again. So the next time when somebody frustrates you, instead of reacting right away, take a breath and ask, what would my higher self do? And hey, if your higher self answers, eat a piece of dark chocolate, that's divine guidance too. For those of you who weren't here last week or didn't watch last week, you don't get the joke. Sorry. Should have been here. Anyway, so when we live out our spirituality, when we live it out loud, in real time, in real relationships, that's when our spirituality becomes real. So we're still talking about relationships. We're still talking about these beloveds in front of us, these beloveds beside us, these beloveds behind us, right? So let's be clear. Every person in your life is a mirror. Listen to the room do that. Yay! Right? What if you only see them on TV? Does that count? Yes, it does, Cindy. Dang it. I know. So some people reflect your beauty, right? Some people reflect your beauty, your kindness, your joy, your capacity to love. And some people reflect your baggage. Those parts of you that you thought you had neatly buried in the backyard under years, perhaps, of spiritual bypassing and vision board affirmations, right? Those people, those folks, those things. But either way, light or shadow, they're both part of your sacred curriculum. We like the people who mirror us, don't we? Who mirror us, who show us our shiny light and our brilliance and our brightness. We love those people, don't we? Yeah, we like you. They make us feel seen. They make us feel celebrated. They make us feel so spiritually evolved, right? But can you bless the ones who reflect what you don't want to deal with? Who reflect your shadow? Can you bless the Darth Vaders in your life? And the stormtroopers in your life? Can you bless those folks? Those folks who activate your own unhealed stuff. Not because they're bad or they're bad people, but because it's still something in you that remains unfinished. The ex who triggered your abandonment wound. The family member who thinks your spiritual path is woo-woo nonsense. And I know we have some of those family members in this room too. Not in this room, but the people in this room have some of those family members, I know. Yes. So that's just an invitation to stand in your truth without needing validation from anybody else, right? The coworker who treats you like you're invisible. They're just reflecting where you may still be shrinking from your own life to stay safe. These people aren't your punishment, they're your practice. They're your opportunity to choose a new way of being. If you are attracting the same kind of challenge over and over, guess where the common denominator is? Oh, another hard truth, I know. Sorry, Allison. Just dropping them like flies today, right? Right? So if you're attracting over and over that same challenge, it's not just a pattern, it's a classroom. There's an opportunity for you to learn. And guess what? The universe is a very, very patient teacher. Much more patient than I am. But the universe is a very patient teacher. And so you keep enrolling in the same course over and over and over again until you decide to show up differently, do your inner work, and graduate with honors. So next time somebody gets under your skin, try asking, what is this person showing me about myself? What's being revealed here for me, for my healing, not just for my reacting? It's not easy, but it's real. And real is where spirit lives, to be real. But being real also means being vulnerable, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. Griselda's nodding her head. Yep. Being real also means being vulnerable. But vulnerability without safety is trauma waiting to happen. Would you agree? Reverend Sancho's like, yes, right? Excuse me. So if we want real intimacy, we have to become a safe place for each other. We get to become a safe place for each other. And that means listening more than fixing. Let me say that again for the people down the street. Listening means more than fixing. Asking before offering advice. Holding boundaries and holding grace, like we talked about last week. Creating a safe space doesn't mean that we coddle immaturity. It means that we call forth maturity and compassion. Too often, we confuse spiritual safety with emotional comfort. But authentic healing relationships aren't built on enabling each other's smallness. Let me say that again. Authentic healing relationships aren't built on enabling each other's smallness. They're built on calling each other into greatness and into love. A safe space isn't where anything goes. It's where truth can be told without punishment, and where growth is expected, not avoided. It's the kind of space where somebody can say, I don't like how that felt. And instead of defensiveness, they're met with, okay, tell me more. I want to understand. It's where boundaries and accountability aren't a threat. Boundaries and accountability are a blessing. It's where being seen as you are doesn't mean staying as you are. Because Spirit doesn't just love us where we are, it loves us into what we are becoming. A safe space, a brave space, where people can say, here's who I am, and be met with welcome home, is a safe space that we've created at the morning table. Would you agree? So let's go to tables now. And you have 3 questions on your tables. Where in your life are you being invited to be more honest with yourself or with someone else? What is one relationship that's been a mirror for your growth, either by reflecting your light or your shadow? And what does it look like for you to create a safe, sacred space in your relationships? So we will go to tables for about 20 minutes and begin. And for those of you joining us online, we welcome you to join the Zoom room, the Zoom table, and that is scrolling across the bottom of your screen right now, that meeting ID and password. So we look forward to seeing you in the Zoom room. All right. So, to be real, got to be real. Authentic relationships won't always be easy, but they will always be worth it. They will demand your honesty, your heart, and your humility. But they will also demand your wholeness. Because when we relate from the soul, when we bring our truth and hold someone else's with care, when we choose love over ego, we don't just connect with people, we connect with the spirit within us. And so this week, your homework is the Brave Conversation Challenge. Oh, just saying it, I'm hearing moans from the crowd. All right, so choose one relationship where you've been withholding your full truth, maybe out of fear or people-pleasing or avoidance. And this week, set the intention to have a brave, kind, and honest conversation with that person. Don't aim to fix the relationship. That's not what we're aiming for. Just be your authentic self and bring it forward with love. So the bonus extra there for that homework is after you have that conversation, journal about how it felt to tell the truth and what opened up for you afterward. Sound good? Understand? I love how Tamara left when I assigned the homework. Or she stepped out of the room anyway when I assigned the homework. I see you tomorrow. I know where you are. All right. All right. So it is. All right.
On this sacred day, we pause as one people, joined not by one faith, but by our shared spirit, a spirit of peace, compassion, and of hope. We recognize the presence of the divine by whatever name we call it, moving through all life, guiding all hearts, and uniting all souls. There is one source, one infinite intelligence that breathes through every tradition, every prayer, every act of love. This presence is not bound by religion or nation. It is the universal thread of truth, the still small voice within, and the light that never goes out. Today, let us affirm that this presence is alive in our nation and in all people. Let's call forth wisdom in our leaders, healing in our communities, and peace in our world. Let us affirm that the hearts of humanity are opening to greater compassion, greater understanding, and a deeper respect for one another. Where there is division, let's affirm reconciliation. Where there is fear, let's call forth courage. Where there is pain, let's speak healing. I know that no prayer goes unheard, and that the collective intention of love has the power to uplift and transform. So let this day be a renewal of our highest ideals, a rededication to unity, to kindness, and to the dignity of every soul. From Centers for Spiritual Livings, churches and temples, from mosque and from meditation halls, from living rooms to city parks, may our prayers rise as one. We are many paths, but one humanity. I give thanks for this shared journey. I trust in the goodness unfolding. I now ask that you declare this prayer with me by responding, and so it is.
So immediately following service, we do have an announcement about our moving and everything. So I do ask that I do ask you to stay for a few minutes after our closing song so that we can share the latest information that we have with you, okay? All right, so I invite everybody to please stand. And let's say this affirmation. I'm going to start it, and go ahead and repeat after me. I create sacred connections.
I create sacred connections
By showing up with truth.
By showing up with truth.
Love.
Love.
And the courage to be real.
And the courage to be real.
Let's say it all together now. I create sacred connections by showing up with truth, love, and the courage to be real.